that's better than the Hum-de-Dums. I was thinking about that. We were talking about it last week,
yeah.
and it reminded me of the Phil Collins song where he goes studio. That's like the backstory of that is he didn't know what was, so they're like, just fill it in with vocals, and he's like, nah, studio, and then that's what they're like, cut it, print, good, we're go.
Perfect.
So I can see
Why
this
did
guy
I
like
hire
sitting,
Ed Wood to be my
yeah.
music producer? Crap.
Was there
I
film in
can
the
see,
canister? Nope. Great.
I
It
can
was
see
perfect.
that Johan or whatever sitting there going, yeah, and then we'll get some nice little songs, and all of a sudden it'll be like, you know, the brass will cut in and hum da dum dum da dum. Like, we're good here.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
his bathrobe going, and it'll be something like, I'll work on it. I'll make it better.
I'll get
No,
there.
it's done. We don't have money or time. That's it.
Have you seen there's a guy, well, he's on Instagram and TikTok and all the things, and his shtick is he plays himself playing different people as they create like some iconic songs, and he does like the Home Depot music and things like that.
Oh,
but the
yeah,
best
yeah.
one by far is the GoldenEye pause music. And so the guy, like him and he walks into his studio and he's like, hey, just remember, it's just for a video game, just for the pause screen, doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then cut to him as the engineer. He's like, you mean something like this? And he hits the space bar and it's like doom 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 pat. It's that really groovy pause music. And so it's just him like dancing to it and getting crazy. It's pretty good stuff. But he's got one of a few like Toto songs and things like that. But it's pretty funny.
Is that the same guy who does like the don't rip off the intellectual property stuff where somebody comes in, okay, I need a little jingle for a barbecue place, let's do something classical. So he switches his synthesizer to classical. He's like, why does that sound familiar? And then he hits like Island, and it's like the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song. Is it the same guy?
No, I don't know. I haven't seen any of those. It could be.
Yeah. There's one that, he does that. You're like, oh, that's kind of catchy. And then he just switches the instruments on the synthesizer, and it's like SpongeBob or a bunch of different, like highly recognized, like The Office at one point. It was just like, you can't, whoops. He's like, you have one more chance. Okay, this one is for a lumber mill. And then it's like, I don't know, Happy Days or something.
Well, speaking of Happy Days, tonight is all about the Book of Boba
Crappy
Fett,
Days.
Chapter 7, a.k.a. the finale. What was the title of the finale? Crappy Days
In the
are
Name of
here
Honor.
again. Okay, so
Here's a mixed bag for you.
fire away. Right off the top, what were your thoughts as you were watching it? What were you feeling on the inside of your Grundle monster?
It's like if they put all the main characters in a bucket,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kind of shook it, and then as they fell out, they wrote them in. They're like,
That's
like,
great.
Oh. And all of a sudden, like these people, like, hold on, it's still rattling around there. Hold on. Yeah, there's one stuck to the bottom. Wait a second. Oh, Rancor.
Oh, Rancor. Yeah, Rancor's was at the bottom.
I think also in a second bucket, they just wrote down all the scenarios from every Star Wars movie and TV show, and they shook them up. So it was like shake it, dump it out. Okay, Grogu uses the Force, and then they shake it and dump it out and go, Grogu uses the Force again. We're doing it again? Okay, we got to do it twice.
Who put this in here twice?
It's in the bucket. We got to do it. Shake. Girls save the day. That we did that in the finale of the Mandalorian. No, we got to do it again. Okay, we're doing it again. Here we go. It was just repeat. I'm sure Death Star was in there, and they're like, that's too far.
Anakin goes to Mustafar and kills Newt Gunray. Okay, we'll work it in.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Do that scene.
The unfortunate part about it is it made me want to write a letter to Robert Rodriguez and be like, just stick to movies, man. Like, stop doing because
just stick to things I don't have to watch.
I liked it from from a fan standpoint. I had a lot of fun with it, but from a critical standpoint, I have so many logistical problems with this episode.
Well, I mean, we could talk logistics all night long. We can talk about
we will a little.
Yeah, we will absolutely.
Comedy.
It's just repeat. It's just repeat of scenarios, and putting your characters in fake peril, and then doing the thing that Mandalorian did, in my opinion, way too much. It's one of my few like real critiques on like criticism of the show is always putting Mando in the situation where he can't get out of it, and then somebody comes in and rescues him, and that got really annoying in the show. And it's
the savior ex machina.
Yeah, it happened again. So
Grogu Machia. Yeah. It's I gotta save baby. Oh wait, maybe baby need to save me.
Baby save Dada.
And it's like what's that Russian comedian? Yeah. And Mandalorian, baby saved man.
what was that guy? Yakov Smirnoff?
Smirnoff.
Yeah. Love that guy. He may as well have been in the show. It might have been better.
In the book of Boba
I guess
Fett, baby saved daddy.
highlights are the battles look better. The fights look better.
Okay, yeah, the one highlight I'll say is everyone, the artist department involved with the Rancor and Boba Fett on the Rancor read that script and went, we got to put time and money so this doesn't look stupid.
Yeah.
And I'll give them props because they definitely threw a lot of money at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It had
for sure
potential to be Baby Bjorn.
Really stupid, and I went, okay, you know what? It's a lot better looking than I feared, so I'll take it.
What did we call that? The Rancor Bjorn?
The Rancor Bjorn? Yeah.
The Bjorn Core?
Bjorn Core.
Yeah. No, that was like the battles were good, even as implausible as they were, or as silly as they were. But like, so like logistical problem number one is the when the Freetown people come in. And it's on this little like speeder tank.
All 8 of them.
Yeah, all like 6 people. And then it's almost like a clown car because every time they cut, there's like 10 and then there's 12. And then when they're running away from the spider droid, there's like 40 people running. Like,
not
whatever.
to
Like,
mention
where did you all come from?
that
like sand people.
the biggest failure of this entire show from start to finish was there was no actual conversation. It was just constant exposition and treating the audience like we didn't have eyeballs the entire show. And that was another moment where they show up in their tank to save the day, of course. And what does Boba Fett say? The people of Freetown. Like, who says anything even remotely like that? If you're in Iraq and you're shooting at the Taliban and you're down to 2 guys, and then around the corner comes a bunch of people on horses, no one says the people of whatever. You know what I mean? It's like you don't talk like that. Nobody talks like that. It drove me crazy. Everything was narrated as if we were all covering our eyes the whole time watching the show.
Like it's a radio drama podcast.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe it would play really well as a radio drama.
Actually,
I haven't just listened to it.
That's a good point. It probably would. So that was logistical problem number 1. What was number 2?
Distance. Like and what I mean by that is we don't know how far Freetown is from Mos Eisley versus Mos Espa. So like the timing logistics of when Fennec Shan takes off on the speeder bike to go to Mos Eisley, she stops and helps out the mods, which that's another logistical thing of where she parks the bike. But any hoozle. So like she does that. She saves them, which I get because she's a mod. So she has some camaraderie there. She feels a little bond with them. She has a cute little moment with the girl. But then she like takes off. But then she takes off to Mos Eisley, and you're like, "Is this in the same day? Is this like an hour later?
Right?
Like, how far did they have to travel to make this happen?" And then I also love how everything, and I know it was a literally like probably a set concern, but how everything just funneled through that one walkway. It's like all of a sudden, oh, here's the people of Freetown, and then oh, here's Chrysanthemum, and then oh, here come the mods, and then here comes the walkers. Like you guys weren't up against the wall, you were just in a building, like
one back lot.
Go around or come in from a different way. It's just everything funneled through that one entrance, which is just weird.
Here's my logistical thing that cracked me up the most is when Fennec is talking about how they got all their bases covered.
Yeah.
And we've got people everywhere.
Huh.
And there's like the two Gamorrean guards are supposed to cover the train spot.
Yeah, the depot, right?
The depot.
And also,
Two ding dongs on
Yeah.
the edge of a cliff.
yeah, make sure you stand 4 to 6 feet from the edge of a cliff, just in case anything
Should we
bad
be
happens.
on the
Definitely your
cliff
back.
side or the non-cliff side? Go cliff side,
Cliff
boys.
side. Cliff
They'll
side.
never suspect you.
And then
And
just
then the
Chrysanthemum
mods.
at the city. Yeah.
Yeah, Chrysanthemum by himself, one Wookiee.
Which is not exactly a discreet sentry to throw anywhere. A gigantic aging Wookiee.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when Fennec goes to save the mods, it was hysterical because the first things first is they go, boss, something's strange, something's up, something's crazy. Cut to them, and literally everyone's grabbing a gun. Like it's way past their acting fishy at that point. And then, secondly,
While they just stand there watching, something feels off.
up against a wall too, or that's where they're like, where should we stand? Well, yes, ideally get yourself pinned into a corner, and then that way if anything goes down you'll definitely die. But then of course Fennec comes in and saves the day, and then there's like, it's like 9 seconds long of the girl like standing up and slowly walking up and going, thank you, you're welcome. Or what'd she say? Manners. And then she's out.
Manners.
It's like,
I like it.
This is not
Well,
good.
I just didn't like when her entrance is great. It's super cool, right? She's up behind them.
Yeah.
She
takes them all
parkours
out.
that crap.
Yeah,
She
she
does
shoots from
parkour.
behind them. And then what does she do? She comes down and her bike is right there. Like, wait, so
She backed up first. No, it's her.
you pulled up in
She had a
front of
remote.
everyone and then climbed behind.
Oh, there you go.
And then like, oh my
Remote.
God.
That's the answer.
Oh, is it like a self-parking Tesla?
Yeah.
Like she just
Yeah.
to
Or
the front,
it's like
please.
Kit. Maybe it talks
Mhm.
to her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, give her a Kit speeder bike, please.
or at least put a droid on it, right?
Season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, put a droid on it that could at least justify how it got there. But yeah, I love that it was just right in front. Like nobody saw her pull up.
Mm-hmm. And I think that number one complete missed opportunity in this whole entire battle, which we'll continue to
Was the
deconstruct.
second draft.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Zing!
Zinga was R2 flying the X-Wing in and just blasting everything, which would have been fantastic way to save the day.
Yeah,
Because
that's how Grogu should have saved it.
yeah, exactly. Grogu flies in on
murder.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Because why
All
not?
the murder.
But
that was the
instead,
thing
they had
too,
to
like,
bring in
he
my
was
And he
favorite
pops
character.
up and goes, Gookie, Gookie.
He landed in Mos
That's just
Eisley,
Gore everywhere on the
And-
ground.
Yeah.
all of that happened in Mos Espa. So like even that, it's just weird, like locational timing. It's like I'm trying to think of a centralized location that everybody knows about. But like I'm assuming it's like LA is Mos Eisley, and like Mos Espa would be Northern California or
I don't even know how
like
far
Las
away they are.
Vegas. Like I don't know how far away
Should
they
we
are.
look it
but
up? Let me
would
look
be-
it up.
The hills?
Wait.
Yeah, like they make it
a
sound like it's
planet,
like
and
Fort
there's
Morgan and Brush, like it's
all-
10 miles apart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Woodrow. No, what's Log Lane Village?
Yeah,
Something
is where
like that.
Marshall
yeah.
and
It's so
Freetown
weird.
is.
The spacing of how far apart everything is, and
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least they didn't ride in on a bantha.
yeah, right.
That's
Months
what I was
later.
hoping for.
They had a
Let's see.
speeder thing.
Mos Eisley to
Uh-oh.
Mos
Something just popped
Espa.
up on the screen.
Oh, it was. I was trying to bring up a browser, but I've got so many open. I don't know what happened.
Got it.
Based upon
yeah,
the
no-
map seen in Star Wars, the distance as the crow flies is 84 miles. So, curly-haired lady drives the distance from where I live to Denver, which is
basically a
80
tuk-tuk.
miles,
Yeah.
in a
During a
rickshaw,
battle.
and finds him
In a rickshaw.
immediately. Immediately finds him with no
yeah, doesn't
problems
go, doesn't
whatsoever.
go to Jabba's temple.
Right.
You know, doesn't go to Jabba's base. Goes to the sanctuary place.
She rolls into a battle in the center of the battle. It was just
And
Bonkers.
hadn't heard any. Well, she's going so fast she couldn't hear that there was a battle.
Right. I love it. So where did
Explosions.
these droids come from? Do you even know where these droids came from? The big
Droids?
battle droids?
Oh,
the,
no,
like,
unexplained.
Souped up droidicars? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just we're supposed to assume that the syndicate had them.
Yeah, the Pike are rich.
Huh.
Yeah.
It would be cool is if they foreshadowed them so we knew they were maybe coming. You know what else would be cool?
What's
if
that?
we knew who that Pike leader guy was right off the bat, so we cared.
You
What else would have been cool is if we cared about any of those other warlords or knew what their names were. You know what else would have been cool?
Because it was tusk
I loved
faces
it. It
and
was
doggy
great.
faces, and it was just a bunch of no faces. No one cared.
We got puppy face over here. We got walrus tits. I don't know who these people are.
And I thought that, like you said last week, we thought that the Tuskens were going to come into play again. So when Boba, screws off to go get reinforcements, I thought he
Yeah.
was getting Tuskens, and he comes
I
back
would've
with a Rancor.
Well, he might have been getting Tusken, but they were riding Banthas, so they'll be there in a couple of weeks.
Be here in 6
right.
years.
That should have been the post-credit scene. Is them showing up on Banthas going, "We're ready."
And
Him
picking
being
through the
like,
bodies.
"All right,
and
now
Boba is 90. Like, we're here for you. Like, yeah, no, I'm old, man.
it's just a skeleton.
On the
armor.
throne. It was great.
Okay.
Then there was this weird moment before all the battling took place when when Fennec and Boba and Mando are in the bar that had been blown up, and they're having a conversation about what to do, and there's this little shot that trucks over because it's a big group, so they're doing a lot of moving shots, and as it trucks over, you see Twi'lek headpiece, but for a long time in this scene, they don't show whose head it is. So I'm like, so the whole time I'm thinking it's Jennifer Beals' dead body that they just like can't, just like
They just left it there.
left it there. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's the mayor's assistant
Yeah.
with his comic relief, which is that character is just completely out of place to begin with.
Yeah.
So every time they're felt like there was peril, I suddenly felt like I was in a comedic commercial, and it wasn't working at all.
Right.
And then not to mention that every time Mando and Boba got into any peril, they would just get blasted with blasters, and somehow none of the blasters ever made it into their skin. It just always
all
bounced off
happened
of
to-
their heads.
It always hit the armor.
Yeah. So
Well,
there
and
was so much
I
going
like
on.
going back to the discussion in the sanctuary. It's just so funny to me how that dialogue is so bad, and that they're like, we need to like dig in somewhere, and Boba's like, we got to go to the hideout. It's a fortified location,
Yes. Go
And
to
then-
Jabba's palace.
Jabba's palace, right? And then the one mod's like, no, you have to stay here because this is where the people we
The
need your
city
help. And he
needs
just
you.
looks at her and goes, okay.
All right.
What?
Let's do that. And then that guy's waiting for someone else to go, actually, we should stay in the city, but go to that spot, and him go, we will do that. And then just keep agreeing with every person who has a new
Also,
idea.
good idea.
Oh,
let's
good idea.
go.
So which one are we doing? All of
Yes.
them? Let's all split up, and each of us go to one of those places. Right? Is that what we're doing?
Right, boss.
Okay, Grandpa, let's just
Yeah.
let's
And
get
it-
you home. Let's get you to bed.
Let's get you
the
home.
the sending of Fennec is so weird too, because they're just talking, and then all of a sudden he asks like, where's their home base? Is it still in Mos Eisley? He's like, yeah, it's in the thing. And he just looks at her. It's like, there's only 3 fighters in that building,
Mhm.
and you set your sharpshooter away.
Right.
Like there's no
Right.
communication other than just like, well, obviously go kill them, right? Like
Mhm.
that whole, I get what
Yeah.
they did, I get the outcome, but like how that transpired was just
Mhm.
kind of like, when did you guys, did I miss a part where you guys talked about how to end the conflict by taking out the leadership? Like, take out the head and the snake snake die. None of that happened. It was just like, are they still in Mos Eisley? Yeah. Wink, gone.
But there was the problem the whole time was there was no bad guy. We didn't know who, because there wasn't like even in Hawkeye, there was a moment where I was a little confused who was pulling all the strings, and when they showed, what's his name? Carlton Fisk.
D'Onofrio.
Kingpin, yeah. He was only in it for a short minute, but suddenly it made sense that there was something going on behind the scenes because there was an actual character. Granted, he has backstory already because he's been in the comics since the 60s or whatever. So, but with this, there was just no character that made any sense as an enemy. And then when they're in having their little conversation, Major Domo guy or whatever his name is, Twilight guy is like, "There's someone outside for you." Okay, let me just walk out there and find out who's here for me. Cool. And I watched
At least
it.
he put his helmet on.
Right, yeah.
Hold on, let me walk out with my helmet on.
Just in case. I watched it twice. I watched it, when it first came out, and then watched it again with Sarah and Huck, and I was grumbling the whole time I'm watching it there. And so I'm explaining my issues prepping for the podcast with Sarah.
Matt, can you go sit in the kitchen, please?
Yeah, for sure.
You're ruining this.
Yeah, you're ruining this. Go watch it on your phone. But it really bothered me that so Cad Bane is such a fan favorite in terms of fringe Star Wars character. Right. For anyone who's not ever seen like Clone Wars and things like that, you don't really know who he is. So he's just really cool. But at this point, there's so much of that in Mando and Boba that you just gotta serve the fans well. And for Fennec to step out and them to have absolutely no interaction whatsoever, and she only says something to Boba Fett, it's like he has as much backstory with Fennec Shand as he does with Boba Fett. Right. And the last time we've seen both of those characters was actually in the Bad Batch.
Right.
And where Fennec actually fights him. Yeah. Like they fight each other in Bad Batch. And so for them to have absolutely no interaction was very disappointing. It was like this huge letdown because it would have been really cool if he walks in, he sees them both, and he's like, "Oh, my two favorite people, teaming up or whatever." Just give us something to nod. Yeah. But the problem is, I think when you've got a director who maybe doesn't have as much deep knowledge, and then when you've got probably, Filoni and Favreau puppet strings on everything else, those little cool touches get missed. And then what you do get is like old 80s style shots of like the speeder bike, coming right up to camera, and then the guy flipping over the top, just stuff like that where you're like, dude, I haven't seen that. I saw that was in Jaws. I don't know what's going on.
The last time we saw these bikes,
yeah,
is that somebody ate it flipping over the handlebars.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that was in the jar. That was in the stuff jar. It's like, what else should we do?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was like the next evolution from just executives going, here's the board with list, make it happen, to just pulling random crap out of a bucket.
Yeah. So I was very disappointed with that interaction. It was kind of a bummer not to see those characters care about each other.
Well, because they did see each other. They had this. Didn't they have this? They had the standoff earlier, didn't they?
Right. The initial standoff. When she's talking about how we got our bases covered, and then the droid walks in and says, "Somebody's here to see you," and he's like, "All our bases, huh?"
Yeah.
And then goes out, and then there's the little semi standoff where she basically tells Boba Fett, like, "Not here. You get to choose when you have this fight." So they had screen time. They were right there. And it's not he would not recognize her.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's true. You're not given any indication that there's any history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a bummer.
Other than her just maybe being like, he's dangerous, but it's like, yeah, we could all imply that this guy, because he's the bad from the Good, Bad, the Ugly. What's that character? He's that guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which was cool, but there was just so many. It was like almost too much homage to the point where they're trying to do all these shots like Western style, and there's some cool looking stuff in it, but it was just like after a while I was just like, I'm not even watching Star Wars anymore. I'm just watching a guy ripping off Sergio Leone, and it's just not fun anymore. Yeah, just wasn't enjoying it.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Well, and it's the again, it was the legit, like the pair, like when they're running away from the droid, and the free town and the mods are together, and they're running, and it's that like constant who's faster than the other one type of thing, because it seems like there's a great distance, and then they turn a corner, and all of a sudden they're right on top of each other, and then there's this great distance, and they turn a corner, and they're right on top of each other. Like, how does that thing doesn't look like it's that fast? I'm pretty sure you guys could disperse and be just fine. But it's that whole like running in a straight line from a falling tree type of thing.
Yeah.
Instead of like spreading out or going perpendicular, they just run parallel. And then they say, they do we can't go any further because we'll be trapped. And then they proceed to duck into a culvert with no exits other than that door. And it's like, it seems like you already managed to get yourself into a corner. Like, all right.
You went from one corner to another corner.
And then not a single pike soldier has a grenade. Nobody, like thermal detonators, all of that. It's canon. Like it's part of it. Like nobody in this fight has a grenade.
Yeah. Yeah. Or anything that flies. They've got these slow moving droidicas that, I mean, they're going to waste everybody anyway. And so they get to that point where they're stuck behind the wall and they just say something crazy like, this is where we make our stand. It's like, this is dumb. Just run away. I'm bored with
disperse.
you.
You're fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, get killed. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like,
Right.
I kept waiting for someone to go underground and come up in the middle of the thing, in the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was an observation,
Yeah.
because they do that in, is it Clone Wars where they talk about that? Or no, it's part of the Bad Batch, right? Where they slow roll the grenade through the.
I don't remember.
Am I making that up? I swear I've seen that before.
You may have. No,
where
that may
there's
have happened.
like a droidica's got a shield, and it's either like Anakin training Ahsoka or somebody in like one of the clone episodes where they
probably
talk
has to be a
about
Force user, right?
I thought, but it was
Slowly push the thing and have
you
control
just,
from a
if you
distance.
go slow enough, it'll phase through the shield. But yeah, you're right. Like, because they even showed him walking on the sand, and like it wasn't dispersing sand, so the shield has to be open. And right, it would have been sick if somebody would just lay down and like it walked over the top of the boop, pop up.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that nonsense. It's like, okay, so clearly the Darksaber is useless. Good call.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take some piss out of that cool thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And they keep on shooting it, even towards the end. Mando and Boba Fett are still just shooting at the shields. Like, I don't get why this is still happening.
Well, even the very beginning, when they're all like celebrating because the pikes run away, and then Mando with his infrared sees this big thing, and they all just stand there and wait for it to slowly lumber to where it can shoot at them. And it's
Through
just
the
like,
fireball.
he's not going, we're not out of the woods yet. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Everyone jump on the clown car. They're like, again, the whole thing's rushed. The whole thing, logistics, they just didn't have time to dot their I's, cross their T's.
And yet,
They just were like,
it was
we're
so
to film
long.
day.
It was so long, though. That's the thing. The battle took forever, and nothing happened.
Rancor was on screen for what felt like the entirety of the that Peter Jackson King Kong movie.
Right.
That was like 17 hours.
Which they did, of course.
I think I had the ring cycle on my phone, PBS greatest whatever, and that
Greatest
played
hits.
3 times. The ring cycle played.
Nice. Yeah, the Rancor stuff was
3 times.
started out like so good, and then quickly fell apart.
Well, it just kept going, and he kept like when he's smashing the big droidicar things, or scorpions. Is that what they called them?
I had subtitles on. It was like Scorpicons or something like that.
Nice. They made them like Transformers.
Yeah.
Out of my way, Scorpicon.
Yeah.
Just
but
silly.
like the Rancor didn't just go, oh, guns hurt, and immediately
Rip guns off.
tear the guns off.
Yeah.
That it like had to dick around to get shot at. I like that they clawed him. I like
Right.
that. Or her. I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know what.
Them, please.
What?
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
And like I said, there was some good attention there of the utility, that it wasn't just like I'm all gun. Like it had knowledge of, let me use these 6 legs that I have as well.
Yeah.
To kind of help out there. So yeah, that was good. But it's hard to gauge because it shot the tank and the tank exploded.
Right.
And then it shot the Rancor point blank, and all it did was take the harness off.
Yeah.
Like,
Scratched it a
I
couple
am
times.
confused about how your physics.
He went,
work.
"Ow." Yeah.
I don't understand what's soft and what's not soft.
Right.
Well,
On a
especially
Rancor.
because you go underbelly always soft,
Right,
and
right.
that's what was like. It was
Squishy
shot like by
parts.
the armpit, so it's like that's gonna be
Mhm.
soft. Yeah, the top shoulder. Yeah, you can shoot that, and I would buy that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah. Well, because
there's
they
enough
showed it
armor.
with like the plates on its back and stuff. Yeah, but
We
like a
all have the
dragon, there's
toy,
soft
man.
spots. Yeah.
Those plates are on the back, not on the belly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
But,
There
you
was
know.
then there's the, they went through every iteration of how to get through the shields, and then suddenly Mando just decides to walk through it with his Beskar that's come in real handy for 3 seasons basically of this show.
He's
well, I think they
died a
tried to
million
allude
times
that
otherwise.
Yeah.
it was like the droid had like when they like put all power to the deflector shields up front because it
Mhm.
changed to like red. So I think they were just trying to like make you think like, okay, maybe it shifted
Give.
all the
Okay.
energy forward,
Yeah.
and then he just had enough to disrupt it.
I kind of
To
stopped
get
paying
in.
attention both times at that point because it was just so long. There was so
Well,
much
and then-
fighting.
Just
Well,
on your
he
phone.
also
Yeah,
did this
yeah.
stupid thing too, where he gets in, and then what does he do? He decides to jet back up. Like you're already just cut its legs off, man.
Mhm.
Like,
There was
you're supposed to
also-
be this amazing fighter, and
Yeah.
you're just I'm gonna get on top of a thing that's moving wildly, and it again it
Right.
was just like what
chop
is
the legs and
happening?
then chop
Mm.
the guns, and then
Yeah.
what's it gonna do?
Yeah, you immobilize it, and you cut its head off, and
There
we're done
was
here.
a lot of selective jetpacking too, because they were getting thrown around like constantly, but didn't. When Mando got bucked off the the Rancor, he didn't think about using his jetpack to help soften the blow in
Oh,
that
he was
4-story fall. Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff like that. I don't know. It was just too much. I think because there was just no real focus or center. And another wasted opportunity was Chrysanthemum. Like, amazing character, and they didn't use him at all to do anything ever. He fought some robo geniuses once or twice, and then got the hell kicked out of him by all those dog face people. I don't get what was going on with that character. Like, why introduce something so badass and then never use him?
Because I think they had the feeling that he was, yeah, and like that they were. I think that's what comes across in this whole thing is kind of like, well, here's the big thing: is again, what am I supposed to take away from this? Is it campy, fun silliness? Is that
Mhm.
what I'm supposed to
Right.
take away,
Yeah.
or am I supposed to buy any of these characters as being what I would assume I'm supposed to buy, that they're capable and it's not making fun of itself, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some weird level where you're going, am I supposed to laugh at these characters, and do you want me to?
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Are you meaning to take the piss out of everything like
Mhm.
you are
Mhm.
doing? I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it was you could definitely tell too between like the three scenarios of people dying. It's the one that didn't have dialogue that weren't going to live. So like the Gamorreans were like, "Oh, cool," but like
You're
when
dying.
when the lizard folk
Maybe
jumped
they fell on a trampoline. They're fine.
yeah, when the lizard folk jumped on Chrysanthemum, we know it's like he's gonna come back.
Right.
Like he's
Right.
gonna come in, and they do his again. It's just he came in from the same place,
Yeah.
just like tossing pikes around, like, and then he's just taking blaster shots, and, like
Mhm.
no, just getting shot. It was almost like like an Apocalypse Now type thing. Like he's
Willem
what's his
Dafoe.
name?
Right.
Willem Dafoe come run, yeah, like
Platoon.
Well, that's Platoon. Yeah. Yeah.
was that Platoon?
That's
My bad.
Platoon. Yeah.
Anyway, but where was I going? Yeah, so it just there was no peril there. Like you knew he wasn't gonna die.
Mhm.
Which if they piled up on him, stab him.
Right.
Well, that's all they
One
had
guy
was
stabs him and
knives.
he's dead.
Two, all I could think in that scene was the reality of shooting that, where it's a bunch of dudes in these awful, hot, unbreathable masks,
Mm-hmm.
just like piling on this dude in this big fursuit.
Yeah.
On
And
a stair,
another.
on stairs. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the like all these movement people that were in these suits just being like, oh, this is miserable. Okay,
Yeah.
I can say I did the Star War.
Yeah. I did a Star Wars.
And just like, all right, guys, just one more time. I'm sorry. We almost got it. Just one more for safety.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're like, there's one of them that's just like, you can tell he just can't see where he's going. He just kind of like piles on top at the end. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cute and funny.
Yeah, like he almost hit the camera on the way on.
Yeah, those masks were the worst ones too. The lizards, they didn't have any articulation or any blinking. It was just real weird.
Those,
yeah.
The Bosk guys. What the
Yeah.
hell's their
The Trandoshans.
Trandoshans. Yeah. Trandoshans.
Yeah. And it's just it was fun, but
yeah, I mean,
to really put
Expect.
weight behind it, you're like, I can't. Like it was a nice. The hard part is it wasn't even like a nice bridge between
Right.
the next series because now we have to wait until May.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can even treat this as like a sorbet, in between
Mm-hmm.
like power shows, and now it's like this is over, and yeah, we got 3 months to wait now, or 2.5 months to wait for the next big thing. It wasn't so that's the other part that's super disappointing, and even to the effect of essentially having 3 episodes of The Mandalorian snuck into 8 or 7 episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It's almost half.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That they were just like, because I would argue that this episode was a Mandalorian episode featuring Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like because especially when like if it's the Book of Boba Fett and he's the one who pisses off, and then it's the Mandalorian running around, he's the main character now.
Mm-hmm.
It's
He
not
did
like
for a large amount of time. It's the
Right.
Grogu and Mando show,
Mm.
Yeah.
and them getting together again already, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is happening in the Book of Boba Fett,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
why is Grogu back already? This deflates all of that. All right.
It was really exciting to think that we were going to get at least a season of The Mandalorian where they were just dealing with Mandalore and dealing with all of that lore and Bo-Katan
without
and
Grogu.
all
The
that
promise
kind of
of
stuff.
that finale.
Yeah, and then going for General Thrawn or Grand Admiral Thrawn, things like that. I thought we were gonna see
Yeah.
the offshoot stuff start to develop, and then we'd get some Grogu as he was more of a Jedi in like season 4, 5, or 6 or something like that.
Right.
And he would come into some kind of power, but instead we still just got cute Grogu trying to steal machinery and putting Rancors to sleep. It was very unfulfilling and kind of a waste really of what could have potentially created a much more exciting reunion. Give us some time to forget about Grogu. Give us some time to like kind of forget the cuteness and the amazingness. Give us a really hardcore, dirty Mando story with the Mandalorians, because I think Bo-Katan is really cool and interesting and all of that. And then we see Grogu at some point in time. I mean, we're not in charge. We should be, but we're not in charge.
And I don't know. That has to be like, I wonder if that's what they wanted, and it's executives or someone going, that feels like a money risk. No, give us Grogu right away again.
Right. Must have Grogu.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. And I'm fine with no Grogu for a real hot minute, but
Yeah. I mean, how many Jeffy moments do you need in a show? That's the
Well,
thing.
it was funny because we were talking when Luke gives Grogu the option and says, take this and stop your training, or take this and become a Jedi. He also makes the statement of like, a moment for you is a lifetime for everyone else, which made me instantly think, well, of course he's going to grab the armor, because you basically told him you can always come back. Like you basically told him like,
right.
it's not like he has a short lifespan. If he's going to live forever, he can take off, and when Mando dies, he can come back and do his training. Like for him, it's like time is nothing at this point. So it's like, of course he's going to pick the armor. And like, you're right. Missed opportunity with his entrance to have him land and then have her say, oh, well, he's in Mos Espa or whatever. And then have R2 take off because, Luke needs his ship back so that he can go drown it in the ocean. But to have that one tiny little thing.
That's a good point. Didn't think about that.
Or maybe when those the two droidekas come in, maybe there's 2 more, and you just see R2 swoop in,
Yeah.
take him out, and then fly away, and just a little like nod.
See ya.
And
Great.
then that's it. That would have cost
Yeah.
$10,000 or whatever, just to have him like wipe out maybe there's like the 2 little droid deck and like 1 big like oh shit droid deck,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Well, I mean, he could have taken out one of the 2, frankly, and sped things up.
Yeah,
And
right.
then it's just like, oh, okay, now
Mhm.
we can do this. We only have to deal with one, and it would,
yeah,
Yeah.
a
How the
total
other
a
one
total
get
like
destroyed? Was
swing
it
and a miss
the
on that.
Rancor do both? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Rancor kills both of them. But it's funny. Oh, here's another logistics thing driving me insane. When they're showing the fight, there's no distance or no placement of these 2 fights. So you don't know, because you keep seeing them walk away, right? They're running away and the droids going this way. And it looks like they go and they make like 3 or 4 right-hand turns. And like they're really, really far away from the sanctuary place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when the second Rancor and Mando gets tossed, and then the Rancor, not second Rancor, sorry, the second droideka, the Rancor stabs that one with its own gun. Then you see Mando stand up, and the Rancor is like 200 yards the other direction. Like he's so far in the background. You're like, I don't understand this city. Where is all of this taking place? Like nobody wrote this down, or
they didn't do the Doc Brown miniature set.
Right.
Okay, well, this isn't to scale, but this is how it's literally all of this is ringing true to. They didn't have time, and they just BS'd it as quick as they could, and they were like,
which I don't see. That's what makes me think that I don't know if this is Robert Rodriguez's fault, where he could have, like they said, like, no, you don't, like you have 90 minutes, but you really have 60 minutes, but you really have 45, and you have this huge story to tell. So we just started cutting out logic or like transitional stuff that would help it all kind of seamlessly fit together, like he does in his movies. If he had more time to walk you through this entire story, he just these little vignettes of things that they like, okay, we got to do the Rancor thing, we got to do the King Kong thing, Grogu's got to not flip over the droid but pull a bolt out of his leg, and then he's got to make the Rancor fall asleep, and you're just like, I don't understand.
Speaking of
all of this is.
That was they used CG Grogu at the very end. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I saw that too. It was like a very cartoony
Grogu
that was snuggling up.
BS. Yeah.
All the proportions were wrong.
Mm-hmm. Proportions, ears were too long. The shading was wrong.
Huge.
All that stuff. It was like, because that's the whole thing, is that they made that commitment, like in chapter 1, basically, of Book of Boba Fett. Okay, we're going puppet all day long. That's how it's working. And so when you see it CG, you know it's CG, and it was just like, you little gutless bastards. Why'd you do that for? Yeah. I didn't like it.
It was definitely off-putting. It was kind of like, wait, what? Like, did you farm that scene out? Is that
right?
Like you just handed it off, but didn't give them the asset?
Now, what was the cut or the after credits scene? I can't remember. I'm thinking
that was Cobb Vanth in the Bantha tank with the modder.
Yeah, that's right. Gonna get modded from that fatal shoulder shot that we all saw was clearly a shoulder shot. Like, gunned him down in cold blood. It's like, no, he didn't. We know he didn't. We saw. Yeah.
No, you murdered the shit out of the deputy.
Yeah, the deputy got like 12 shots. Yeah, but the main character.
We all loved. Everyone applauded. But...
Yeah, but the very, 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 very famous actor,
yeah.
He got shot once in the shoulder. I wonder if he's going to come back. Yeah, a little bit of that.
What do you guys think about? They do a time check. I didn't like the fact that they had the Cad Bane Boba Fett showdown as a finale for Cad Bane.
Yeah, no,
I thought that was a waste. I thought just because.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know.
See around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it almost needs to be like Cad Bane finds out his boss is dead, and then just says like, "Well,
sorry for the trouble.
If I'm not getting paid, I'm out." Like, have him just be like, "Yeah, the job's over. See you around," and then take off.
Yeah,
like they don't need to have, because they also don't have. There's nothing that presents the fact that they have some sort of like long-lasting beef,
right?
where they need to kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no unless
I
it's
think there was
something.
supposed to
I'm
be a
not
Clone
seeing
Wars
it.
episode, but then it got canceled when
Hmm.
Disney bought
Oh,
Star
well, yeah,
Wars.
because they make reference of like I'm not a kid anymore. So it's like, wait, did he do something to Boba as a kid in the
I
Clone
can't
Wars?
remember. There's like some bounty hunter episodes with Boba Fett
Yeah.
in Clone Wars early on. I can't remember if
Mhm.
But
Cad
it's
Bane's
kid,
in
it's
them.
kid Boba, right? It's young
It's
Boba.
Kid Boba. He's
Yeah.
like with Bosk. I feel like Dengar's there. There's the others are there, but I can't remember if there's. But I
Yeah.
without researching, I think there's supposed to be a standoff where Cad Bane shoots Boba. He's wearing the helmet,
the
and that's
dent.
how he gets the dent.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's from Cad Bane. But again, that season got canceled,
Yeah.
and they tried to do some lost episode stuff, and that didn't make the cut at all. So
Interesting.
So yeah, they're trying to rest the backstory of these two characters on that, and you're
Right.
like, that doesn't exist. So
Right.
and even if it did exist, who cares?
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, for people that haven't watched Clone Wars and Rebels or Bad
Right.
Batch, Cad Bane is brand new,
Yeah.
which I feel like it's fine for people that watched this and didn't know who he was. I'd imagine they get, oh, he's bad guy, menacing gunslinger. That's probably really good. Got it.
Yeah.
Mm. Would have been
But then
great
they kill
to keep him
and
in the
it's,
show.
It's like,
Well,
Yeah.
do they kill him?
Do you think there's
I
potentially
yeah, I saw
still
that.
up?
I saw that article too, and
What did the
Yeah,
article
as
As
far
say?
as-
he's got his buttons. They're still
Yeah,
like,
the
beeping his life support.
he's
crap.
got the little like indicator,
Mhm.
and it's still blinking. Like that's supposed to be his heartbeat, and it was still blinking when they showed him. Yeah, I mean, in this world though, does anybody really die
Apparently
ever?
not.
Everyone's
Because
really gone.
Mhm.
it seems like the answer is like back to tank.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just laying around everywhere. And
Yeah.
people are just taking them up.
See
Must
the
have
way.
been the very end. It's just a long line of people waiting to use the back to take.
I was
Okay,
thinking
Tremonka.
Now
Kill
serving
Wookiee's
number
name.
77.
Tremont.
Crawl
Who's
in
got
there.
77?
He's all like trying to like.
That'd be great if it was just a big long line of everyone just wounded, waiting for the back to tank. Oh man.
A couple of people just have dropped dead because they nope, sorry, you're too far
Didn't
back.
quite make it.
Because the way that he said it, a couple of lines, and just the way that he delivered it was really funny. Because he said to the big Wookiee, you deserve a long, sultry, beautiful, warm soak in a back to
Bubbly.
tank. Yeah, it was like, geez, that was real sensual, Boba.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, she's like, "You need a soak in the back tank." He's like, "It's being used." And like, geez, okay, what? Then I was
Get us
expecting
back to
Yeah.
hot tub.
yeah, cut to
And that's the end scene. They're all cracking beers.
hanging out.
That would have been a great way to end the season.
Me as well.
Him and the mods. The one of the mods is like, I can't crawl in. I'll short circuit.
Yeah. I want to make a T-shirt, and it's Boba Fett, and it's him with a melon, and it just says, "Saved Mos Espa, and all I got was this stupid melon." Because it was like, because suddenly everybody's back in town, and kids are running up giving him melons, and it's like, well, but what does he do now, though? I mean, is he the crime boss? Is he the mayor? What is your job now?
He's the beloved, savior of the city.
Yeah.
He is.
It's the Godfather Part 2 type of thing that they're going for. When
Right.
Pacino's or De Niro is walking down the city and people are like, here's a melon, here's a tomato, here's a can of beans.
Yeah, it's like the Soprano thing,
That's what
right?
they
Where
want, yeah.
everyone knows that he's the boss, so they're just like giving him free crap all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. But Fennec's too good for his melons, apparently. So
And it's also still funny too that he doesn't have some sort of car.
no
Like
vehicle.
he just walks.
whatsoever.
They just walk everywhere.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have
He
a
doesn't have a Fetmobile.
a little speeder or some little thing. He walks everywhere. It's like the city's enormous. What are you
Mhm.
doing logistically? And it's like how Hutt's Palace has got to be far.
Banthas.
Did you walk from Hutt's Palace? Like it's gonna take you. It's so dumb. It's so
They're
bad.
taking their time. He should have a vehicle that's. Have you seen those? In Hot Wheels does the cars, but they're not like the Boba Fett mobile. They somehow turn his helmet into a car.
Thematically?
Yeah, that's what they should do. Is they should give him a Hot Wheels Fett mobile that also doubles as a money clip or something like that. You know.
Well, it wouldn't even be that hard to give him a
should have a
speeder
monster truck.
like the counselor had it when in the car chase thing.
Yeah.
Like give him one of those, and he could sit on that and like wave to the crowd like he's in a parade or whatever. But
speeder.
the fact that they walk everywhere is like, what? Okay, I know this is a budget issue, and you just don't want to do it.
And maybe Fennec Shan is dressed like Jackie O, and maybe dressed like JFK.
And that's how he got the dent in his helmet. And the hole in his throat.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that you're just like, all right, you guys had a checklist of, again, going back to it, you had a checklist of stuff you had to hit and how you got there. You're just hoping everyone is like, Grogu.
Yeah, for sure.
Hunters.
For sure.
Doesn't put it together.
It was wasted on that
car
front.
Tank of Freetown.
Because they wasted Luke. They wasted Ahsoka. They wasted Grogu. It was just
everything.
Yoda's lightsaber. It was just too much stuff that just kind of came and went for no reason in a show that had nothing to do with any of those characters. That was the thing. And way too much of Amy Sedaris. It was like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Fair.
It's just so much of her character.
Yeah, it's
spitting out her teeth and acting crazy and being like, hey, look at your sexy hair and come sit behind me, fancy face.
Oh, yeah, I was
like,
going to wait for her to make out with that guy.
Get out of here.
That's the next show after Obi-Wan is their spin-off.
Them in a back to tank.
Rom-com, yeah. Them in the back to hot tub.
Yeah. The back to hot tub time machine. It was rough, man. I know it sounds like we act like we hate it, but we don't. We do. I do.
We love Star Wars.
We talk about it's a hypercritical because our expectations are so high.
Yeah.
Like the love is so high that it's almost, it's not disappointment in the sense of we're never going to watch it again. It's a disappointment in the sense of it would have taken 5 more minutes just to like read through it again and be like, but what about this?
Yeah.
And not having somebody in the room going, shut up. You shut your mouth.
Yeah,
it's always script. All this stuff should be solved when it's almost free of charge. Like, all you have to do is pay a guy to write the thing, or maybe a couple people to work on a treatment or whatever. It's like the outline didn't get done.
Yeah.
And it's like someone's just writing. I don't know what it is. Again, I think it's like they demand a checklist of crap, and then they got to try and cram all that stuff into some script that makes sense. And it's like,
well, and we might literally be seeing it in the credits.
Throw the checklist out the window.
Yeah.
When they have the art department who's doing amazing work, the art department doing the stills, that could be the checklist. They're like, all right, so here's Grogu with the Rancor, get there. Here's Boba Fett stabbing Cad Bane, get there. Here's.
But again, if it makes sense for the story, they need to be. What's the story we're trying to tell? What do we think this character is? Do we take him seriously? Is he a joke? And then what's the homage we're going for? Okay, it's him becoming a crime lord, and there's other crime lords. Okay, so that should be the focus. Oops, no, that wasn't the focus. Okay,
well, especially now the question is like
learning how to live off the land.
Right.
No, it's he was with the Sand People so that he could use a stick on Cad Bane when he almost gets shot.
Right.
That was the whole payoff. The Sand People.
Or even when they tried to do the, that the Pikes are the ones who actually killed the Tuskens. Like, Boba's not an idiot as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure he put that together.
Nah, did he?
but I'm saying, like, I know in this telling, it's kind of like, I don't know. But if you were to really, really think about it, you'd be like, yeah, I bet you walking in there and threatening the Pike Syndicate with protection that they never had to pay before, and then having you duel it out with the other people paying protection. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could put together that the Pikes were probably involved with the murder of the Tuskens.
Well, there was just so much character that was
probably also because there was not a single bike. There was the only dead bodies at that camp were the Tuskens. You're telling me that the Raiders didn't get a single shot off?
right. Right. That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you're telling me? That
No biker died. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess even then you'd say they're not going to leave them there. They'll take them and bury
But
them.
kind of
But like
bike
no blasted down speeder bike.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and like a wasted, completely exhausted, torn to pieces Boba Fett rode into a 70s style bar and beat the hell out of like 8 of them single-handedly. So that's a good point. Like, so no, the Sand people had no
The ones who
like
trained
ability.
him.
Yeah, the ones
forgot
that trained
everything.
him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because he beats them with the stick he got trained
Yeah.
with.
Do
Yeah.
the Tuskens have like night amnesia?
Apparently.
When the sun goes down, they forget everything. Do they
It's
sundown?
a Shyamalan movie. That's the next Shyamalan
Yeah.
movie.
There's that moment too when they're doing the standoff with Cad Bane and Boba's deciding whether he should shoot or not, and Fennec's like, "You're emotional," and like he's not.
Like, how can you
He's
tell?
not at
He's
all.
wearing a helmet.
He's the opposite of emotional. The entire show. It was just a weird line too, where it's like, oh, now suddenly she's like, she knows something we don't. No, this is weird.
Yeah, if he like lost it at some point,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Yeah, but he never
Character
lost it.
showing something.
Yeah, he never showed
Yeah,
it.
he never broke stuff and was frustrated.
No.
He was just like a weather vane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you might have to
folks,
circle back
10 out of
on
10.
this.
You know, 10, right? 5 stars.
Yeah, oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. No, it's rough. Any parting thoughts? We got to call it early tonight. We might pick this up at some point in time, but we want to get our initial thoughts out before it cooled
makes
off
me
too much.
nervous about Ahsoka, and it makes me nervous about Obi-Wan, and it makes me nervous about Mando season 3, that they're going to start doing like the comic book crossover thing where there are no distinct series. They all just smash together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which I would be fine with 100% if
But
the
it
shows
dilutes-
weren't super like focused in terms of the character, it being about that character. If it was all about
sure.
the world, I'm fine with that. If the show wasn't all member berries and all exposition. That's the problem with this show. I'd be totally down if it was kind of like, ooh, is this Mando or Boba? Doesn't matter, great show, but it
Or
wasn't.
Call it like Tatooine, or, call it title the show Mos Eisley.
Yeah,
and
for
then
the Book of Bounty Hunters. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now we can just have all these random bounty hunters in the show and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, still gonna watch it, still gonna love it, still gonna complain about it, all the things.
Yeah. Love to complain or complain to love.
Yeah. One of the two. I like any of it. I love it all. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you stopping by for this conversation about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 7, Le Finale. Ooh, it's snowing like crazy out here in Colorado.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Just saw the old plow come by, if you know what I mean.
nope.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Is that a cocaine reference?
Like I-